What is going on, Jet fans? Matt O'Leary back with another video. In today's video, I want to get into a very tough decision the New York Jets are going to have to make sooner rather than later. I know, right now is a little bit of a quiet time for the NFL and for the New York Jets in particular. Earlier today, we talked about Xavier Gipson maybe being a little bit higher on the depth chart than some fans realize. But today I wanted to make a video on a tough decision that the Jets have to make. And really, where I'm going here is I believe the Jets are going to have to decide between Michael Carter and DJ Reed which one of the two that they're going to pay. Now, in a perfect world, would I love to keep both Michael Carter and DJ Reed? Yes, I would. I like both those players a lot. I think DJ Reed has been a fantastic New York Jet over the last 2 years. Both guys heading into their final year of their deal. In all likelihood, I think it's you're going to have to pick one of the two guys to pay. It's a salary capped sport. You have Garrett Wilson, Sauce Gardner, these other contracts that are coming up that you're going to have to give extensions to. You're going to have to make tough decisions. When you have a really good roster, you're going to have to make these tough calls. So I wanted to talk through how I came to the decision of who I would choose to pay. So just to give you a little bit more context to how good they were, both these guys were last year. So PFF, not a perfect science, but if you just want to look at some very vague or broad things on where these guys played, Michael Carter was ranked as their 13th overall corner, where DJ Reed was their 17th. Entire NFL. That's really, really impressive. And if you break it down and split it up between outside corners and slot corners, I think it's fair to say Reed at worst is a top 20, probably closer to top 15 outside corner in the NFL, where Michael Carter is a top 3 slot corner in the league. As I mentioned, DJ Reed, maybe Joe Douglas's best find in free agency. They signed him at 26 years old. He's heading into his age 28 season in his final year of a 3-year, $33 million deal. He signed that before the 22 season at an $11 million AAV. And I believe if he plays well this year, which I have every belief that he is going to play well, that he is going to get paid, or someone is going to pay him like a number 1 corner. And for a comparison, L'Jarius Sneed at age 27 this past offseason got an extension, or got a new contract, at $19.1 million. Now, granted, that was his first big payday after a rookie deal. He's 2 years younger, so maybe that's a little bit different, but I don't think it's unfair to say that the floor for DJ Reed is probably $15 million, and my guess is between 15 to 17 million AAV. And again, I think, there's not a ton of great corners in the league, and he's proven that he is a very good player. And I think, as I mentioned, I think someone will pay him to be a number 1. So that makes things a little bit more complicated. And, you also had a couple of years ago, Jalen Ramsey in his late 20s get a big deal, in the high teens. So maybe he doesn't get up as high as those two guys, because I don't know if he's as high profile as Sneed or someone like Jalen Ramsey, but the production speaks for itself. He's been a very, very, very good starting corner for the last 2 years with the Jets, and was an up-and-comer that everyone really liked in going into the 2022 season, and has that paid dividends for the Jets. But the main difference here for me is the difference in price between the highest paid outside corner and the highest paid slot corner. So by an AAV, average annual value, the highest paid outside corner in the league makes $21 million a year. Now, if you were to look at the highest paid slot corner, that would be Kenny Moore, who just got his deal this past offseason, and he got paid a 3-year, $30 million contract extension. For you at home who are math whizzes, that's a $10 million a year AAV deal. So $10 million versus $21 million is the top of the market for an outside corner versus a slot corner. For Michael Carter, as I discussed, I think at worst, he is the 3rd best inside or slot corner in the league. Somewhere in the top 3, I think, is absolutely fair. Him, Kenny Moore, Trent McDuffie, I think are the big three in whatever order you want to put them in. But again, one of the best slot corners. So if Michael Carter's representation is coming to the Jets and like, hey, we're looking for, a little bit more than what Kenny Moore just got, 3 years at $31.5 million, a $10.5 million AAV. Yeah, I think you do it. I think that would absolutely be something that I would consider, and I would rather pay Michael Carter that money, one, because again, he will come at a much cheaper cost, and number two, he's 3 years younger than what DJ Reed is. You'd be paying for Michael Carter's age 26, 7, and 8 season versus DJ Reed's 29, 30, and 31 season. A lot of times with these corners at 30 years old is where it begins to fall off. So if you were to sign DJ Reed, yeah, he's probably really good again for you in 2025 in his age 29 season. And that makes sense because the Jets are going for it and trying to win a championship. But anything after that, you're playing with fire. It could go at the drop of a hat. Look at what happened with Darrelle Revis. He was really good outside of one game in 2015 and then was virtually unplayable in 2016, the following year. So then what happens from there? Well, there's a few options. The Jets could either try to develop someone that they currently have on the roster. Quantez Stiggers is someone that's jumping out. Maybe they liked Brandon Echols from 2021. Maybe they'd give Brandon Echols another look. You could, head to the NFL draft maybe and use one of your first or second round pick on an outside corner. You can go a cheaper route in free agency. I trust the Jets and give the Jets the benefit of the doubt on the defensive side of the football and specifically at corner because what they've gotten out of their guys in the past. Sauce Gardner is excellent and a unicorn, but they've developed guys like Brandon Echols. They got Bryce Hall, started for 2 years for this team and was, okay for them as a starter. There was opportunities, I thought anyway, even last year against the Philadelphia Eagles, they missed both, Sauce Gardner and DJ Reed in that game, and the Jets won. Now, do I think that's sustainable? That plan is sustainable over the course of a full 17-game season? No. But I think that the moral of the story is that the Jets with Tony Oden, the positional coach, and Jeff Ulbrich and Robert Saleh, I have a lot more faith in them finding someone who can be a competent running mate, maybe not to the same level as Reed. As I said, Reed is to the point where he's one of the best cornerback number twos and is probably a cornerback one on most teams. Maybe it means Sauce Gardner has to travel more in the future because they don't like their cornerback two as much. Having an elite slot helps. It makes things a little bit easier because you have the slot wide receiver figured out. We know that offenses run so much more 11 personnel nowadays. But moral of the story, again, the Jets have to make a very difficult decision. And I'm not saying it's easy. I'm not saying moving on from DJ Reed and that's not me saying I dislike DJ Reed at all. That couldn't be further from the truth, actually. DJ Reed has been everything you could have possibly asked for and more since signing with the New York Jets. Plus, I think he's a good dude and a likable guy to root for. So it would be tough to see him go. But again, it's you have to run your team as a business. And I don't know if it's a better business decision to pay DJ Reed the bigger money than it would be to pay Michael Carter. Again, that's tough. And I'm not saying you can't lose DJ Reed for nothing, so trade him now. No. The Jets need DJ Reed and are going for it this year. I'm just saying if it comes down to it and he leaves in free agency and you get a comp pick back eventually for him, that might be the way that it has to go. But I would be proactive and try to sign, make your decision and pay one of them now. And I would try to extend Michael Carter now so that you're not in a scenario that you were this past offseason when you didn't pay Bryce Huff, you let the year play out, and then he leaves. I think the Jets got bit by how they handled that situation. I don't think they could allow that to happen again. So moral of the story, pay Michael Carter. Let me know your thoughts on this in the comments down below. Once again, I'm Matt O'Leary. Catch you guys next time.